Perry is an American actor, director, playwright, screenwriter, producer, and author. He rose to fame for his theater plays and his portrayal of his fictional character, Madea. In 1992, he directed, produced, and starred in the low-budget stage production musical I Know I've Been Changed, which was funded with his life savings of $12,000. The show touched on family issues, Christian faith, and forgiveness, a theme he would continue using in most of his work for years to come. The musical received poor reviews and only 30 people showed up, but Tyler spent years rewriting and perfecting the script to win over the audience. In 1999, he debuted the play I Can Do Bad All By Myself. This was the first appearance of his most famous fictional character, Madea. The character was inspired by his mother and several other women he knew growing up in New Orleans. Madea is a gun-toting, protective, trash-talking elderly woman whose behavior often get her in trouble. Tyler played Madea himself, and for the role, he dressed up in a wig and dress. Because of her popularity, Madea was featured in a number of plays, including Medea's Family Reunion and Medea's Class Reunion. In 2005, he started his film career with the romantic comedy drama Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which he produced and starred in and funded it with the money he earned from his plays. Madea also made her screen debut in the film. Although it grossed over $50 million, it received negative reviews with a 16% rating based on 114 professional reviews. But it was critically acclaimed by his fan base. Over the next 2 decades, Tyler Perry's films would gross over $864 million at the North American box office. He developed more plays and produced television shows such as Tyler Perry's House of Pain, Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns, and The Haves and Have-Nots. Tyler Perry was also involved in the film Precious. In October 2019, he announced the grand opening of his $250 million Tyler Perry Studios on the site of a former 330-acre Confederate military base in Atlanta. The studio had already been in use while under construction, with feature films like Black Panther and series like AMC's Walking Dead were filmed there. Bad Boys 3 and the forthcoming Coming to America has also been filmed at Tyler Perry Studios. The studio has 50,000 square feet for his stand-in permanent sets, which include a replica of the White House, a bank, county jail, lakeside cabin, trailer park, suburban homes, and a commercial jet. There are 12 10,000 to 38,000 square foot sound stages that are dedicated to legends such as Oprah, Harry Belafonte, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, Whoopi Goldberg, and his mother, Willie Maxine Perry. There's also another 200 acres of green space to build sets. Tyler is the first African American to own a studio with no corporation or partners involved. The studio also created over 400 jobs for the people of Georgia. Tyler Perry's rags to riches story definitely inspired most African Americans. We can celebrate his success, but we need to talk about the problem with Tyler Perry and his films.
There's a school of thought that says, oh, we're not diversifying our imagery enough in our community yet. There are certain images, whether they be in plays or movies or music, that we flock to, whether we like to admit it or not. I'm wondering, is that just the black middle class saying, oh, no, that's not what we want, but the lot of us wanting it?
Well, I mean, this is a complex subject, because each artist should be allowed to pursue the artistic endeavor. But I still think a lot of stuff that's on today is coonery and buffoonery. And I know it's making a lot of money, breaking records, but we could do better. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm a huge basketball fan, and when I watch the games on TNT, I see these 2 ads for these 2 shows, and I'm scratching my head. You know, we got a black president. You know, are we going back to Mantan Moreland and sleep and eat?
Yet, if those films, I mean, we're talking about Tyler Perry at this point. No, I mean, look.
John Singleton, people came out to see Boys in the Hood. He did Rosewood. Nobody showed up. So a lot of this is on us. A lot of this is on us. You know, you vote with your pocketbook, your wallet, you vote with your time, sitting in front of the idiot box. And the man has a huge audience, and Tyler's very smart. You know what he's done. He started out, you know, with these plays, and church buses would pull up, packed, and he's parlayed it into a, you know, bought his own jet. You know, you can buy a jet, you got money. But at the same time, for me, just imagery is troubling.
I will punch the hell out of you. Say something else.
That is my answer to Spike Lee. Go to hell.
I will punch the hell out of you. Say something else.
Let me just say this about Spike, anybody else, all the critics, anybody else. You know, it's only black people that do this to each other. I have never seen Jewish people complaining about Seinfeld. I've never seen Italian people complaining about The Sopranos. It's only us as Negroes that do this to each other. And I can't fix it. Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois did it.
In January 2020, he revealed that he is the only writer for all of his shows and movies.
So I don't know if you know this, but all shows on television have a writer's room. And most of the time there are 10 people, 12, whatever, that write all these television shows, right? Well, I have no writer's room. Nobody writes any of my work. I write it all. Why am I telling you this? I wrote all of these scripts by myself in 2019. What's my point? Work ethic!
Many people will applaud his amazing work ethic, but this explains exactly why his work has had little to no growth in the last 20 years. His plays and earlier films used to be a staple in black households. Tyler Perry has made dozens of movies, but he's only done one type of movie throughout his career, which is always about a woman who experiences abandonment or abuse from her husband. He also has been delivering the same repetitive, melodramatic / comedy movies that include too many storylines and jumping around.
Just another bitter black woman, huh?
I'm not bitter. I'm mad as hell.
Tyler makes movies that pushes messages that he thinks are important, and a lot of them are important, but his regressive, stereotypical images of black identity are exhausting to viewers, and we pretty much know what to expect from a Tyler Perry movie. Tyler Perry also has an obsession with depicting black women as either uppity and bougie, or poor, angry, jealous, bitter, and resentful. And it's very alarming that most of his storylines are centered around women, but he's not a woman or have any black women writers to help him or give their own perspectives.
Don't blame her. She has had you under her thumb since you were born. She lives her life through you. Don't you want to just make a decision on your own, just once? Lisa, you gotta learn to fight.
But I've never had to fight before. Okay, somebody has always fought for me. And I can't fight him.
Whether he notices or not, his storylines can be colorist at times. The dark-skinned black men are often portrayed as the terrible, aggressive, and abusive husband who the woman is trying so desperately to get away from, while the light-skinned men are seen as the soft-spoken, caring bus driver who saves the single mothers from their husbands. And when he is uplifting black men, he's throwing black women under the bus, like the storylines of his movies Temptation and Acrimony, which we'll get into later. In 2008, Tyler fired 4 of his award-winning television writers for being involved with a Writers Guild of America organizing effort when they tried to get a union contract with Tyler Perry's production company House of Pain LLC. The Guild filed unfair labor practice charges with the National Labor Relations Board, alleging that House of Pain unlawfully fired the 4 writers in retaliation for their union activity. The charge also alleged that the company bargained in bad faith with the Guild, which was seeking to negotiate a contract covering the writers on Tyler's cable television series House of Pain and Meet the Browns. One of the writers fired was Lamont Farrell, who had previously worked on Girlfriends, Moesha, and The Parenthood. He said, Over the last couple of years, we were talking about that and asking Tyler if we could go union because he didn't offer any health benefits, pension, dental, or union wages. So we're making less than typical writers would make on a cable sitcom. Another writer, Christopher Morse, said, "It's very disheartening considering that this is a studio run by African Americans. What Tyler Perry is essentially saying to us is that you're black and there's not a lot of opportunities for you. So you take what I give you, whether it's fair or not." A third writer named Terry Brown Jackson said, "I feel like I was slapped in the face and like we were used. We were good enough to create over 100 episodes, but now when it comes to reaping the benefits of the show being syndicated and having other spin-offs from it, he decides to let us go unless we accept a horrible offer."
It's so shocking because he has so many projects going on. He's such a busy man. How does he do it without a writer's room?
He does it very well without a writer's room because he says when he had a writer's room, it was counterproductive for him. The script would come, and the way he puts it, he would pay people to write a script. He didn't like the script. You have to pay him to rewrite it. And then when he fixed it himself, they'd go and complain to the union, and then he had to pay something else. So he just said, "I don't have to do that anymore. I'll just do what I do."
Yes.
Because he knows his audience.
And they know his voice.
Yes, and they know his voice. He knows what they are expecting, and he gives it to them.
This is about 10 years ago. I had a writer's room, and it was a really bad experience for me. They were turning in scripts that I had to pay for, repay for if they were bad, and I was just like, I'll just do it myself. And my ratings started to take a dip, so I just said, I'm going to write my own stuff. But listen, The Have and Have-Nots is still the #1 show on Tuesday nights. The Oval and Sisters is still the #1 show on BET. So somebody's loving my writing, so I'm going to focus on that. But as far as Tyler Perry Studios, there are other projects that we're working on, that there's going to be a showrunner, that there'll be other writers that are not what my audience is expecting from me. So yeah, there'll be other opportunities. But as far as self-care to go, no, I'm good. When you are a writer, they give you what's called combat pay if you can write something in 3 months. I write my whole season in 2 weeks. Like most writers, most writers take, like, if they're going to go write a script or a movie, they get 6, 7, 8 months to go write it. I write these things in like 2 weeks because it's my head. All this stuff is in my head, and my audience loves it. So I've been doing this for 25 years. Yeah. I'm speaking directly to them. We speak a language, so I'm not going to change what I'm doing because people don't like that I write everything. Wow. So
most successful filmmakers and screenwriters are successful because they have a diverse team of writers to offer their own ideas and perspectives. If Tyler Perry had a writer's room, his movies wouldn't be so terrible. Y'all, he has a show coming out titled Bruh. Then there was the use of the character Madea, who got boring after a while and was added to movies for absolutely no reason. Madea was used in about 11 movies, and the speaking in exaggerated Ebonics and jokes just weren't funny anymore. Luckily, he retired the Madea character. Author and film scholar Donald Bogle said, "Tyler keeps saying that Madea is based on black women he's known, and maybe so, but Madea does have connections to the old mammy type. She's mammy light. If a white director put out this product, the black audience would be appalled." Tyler Perry's book, Don't Make a Black Woman Take Off Her Earrings, sold 400,000 copies in its first year of release. His production has also gotten worse aside from the bad wigs. You would think a man worth $600 million would have the budget to make high-quality films, but that hasn't been the case in recent years. For example, his movie Acrimony. The storyline started off fine. Then towards the middle of the movie, it's like Tyler ran out of ideas and the movie turned into a poor green screen version of Titanic. And the ending made absolutely no sense. Taraji P. Henson's character mysteriously ends up on the boat that her ex-husband and his new wife are spending their honeymoon on. Shoots the ex-husband and makes the crew jump overboard, including the captain. The new wife suddenly knows how to drive a boat and takes the smaller one to look for help. Taraji's character comes back to the boat, but is dragged into the ocean after her foot gets caught in an anchor. It makes sense that the movie was so horrible because they filmed it in just 1 week. Tyler Perry has showcased and introduced Hollywood to black talent, and I won't discredit him for his contribution to black Hollywood. But he needs to learn to take criticism and collaborate with other writers to help him switch up his narratives, approach, and represent black identities better. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to Black Femininity TV for more content.